Hydroform test. Hydroform test is essentially a QA test, and in the reactions, it is to identify specific structures of alcohol group. We'll note that the reagent that's used is actually an oxidizing agent, which comprises of iodine and your sodium hydroxide. And finally, one of the product is CHI3, which is a yellow precipitate. And that observations of your yellow precipitate allows you to confirm that the hydroform reactions is a positive one and a specific alcohol structure is present. So let's take a look at the specific alcohol structure. For alcohol with this structure, then it would be able to produce CHI3. So this is actually a fake mechanism, not the actual one. The actual one comprises more than 5 steps. But this is actually a simplified mechanism which allows you to understand what is going on inside the reactions. So the first thing that will happen is that when this alcohol interacts with your iodine and in the presence of sodium hydroxide, what will first happen is oxidation will take place, which means, like previously we discussed, these 2 hydrogen will be removed, so it will form a C double bond O. After it forms a C double bond O, only if the structure has a CH3 group that bonds to the C double bond O, then each of the hydrogen will then undertake reactions such that each of the hydrogen is being replaced with an iodine. And eventually, when it forms CI3, this CI3 will contains lots of steric hindrance, and therefore, because of that, it will break off to form your CHI3 in the final step. And so the final cleavage will occur. The final bond cleavage will occur here, and whatever structures that's down here will then eventually form your carboxylate. The reason why it forms your carboxylate is because the reaction medium comprises sodium hydroxide, which is an alkaline medium. And clearly we can see that in terms of oxidation state, your iodine would have changes from 0 to -1. That's the reason why your iodine and your sodium hydroxide is an oxidizing agent. And with that, you also need to memorize the equations. And typically we use a numbering to help ourselves remember. When alcohol give a positive hydroform test, the balance equation we term it as 4,6,5,5. So alcohol, obviously just 1 mole, then 4 is iodine first, then followed by sodium hydroxide. You can remember that based on alphabetical order. Product form will be CHI3, that's just 1. And of course your carboxylic acid that we mentioned here earlier. And the 5,5 will comprises of a salt, which is your NaI, and your water molecules. Remember that also at this stage, do note that the positive hydroform test would be observed for ketone aldehyde as well, which is actually the next chapter that we do. Because in the case of ketone aldehyde, then this step is not needed, because the ketone aldehyde will be the reactant of this step. So finally, with that, we can conclude that as far as for primary alcohol, the only primary alcohol that can have a positive hydroform, the only primary alcohol that can give a positive hydroform will be your ethanol, as labeled here. All other primary alcohol would not be able to give a positive hydroform test. As for secondary alcohol, there will be plenty of them, because you can have many different possibilities for it. So if there's a secondary alcohol, you will have to evaluate the structure and see whether you actually have a methyl group. To see whether you have a methyl group in this specific location. Tertiary alcohol. In the case of tertiary alcohol, we will know that tertiary alcohol will not be able to give a positive hydroform test because it cannot even be oxidized.